Welcome to the Arsenal Show. We are live, and I'm joined by Steve, Kate, and Jerome Marks. How you doing, boys?
How you doing, mate? Yeah, good.
We have got plenty to discuss tonight. We're going to be going through the comeback against Bournemouth. We're talking about Reiss Nelson's potential new deal that he could have with Arsenal. He's currently in talks with Arsenal over a new deal. I'm sure Steve's got some more on that. And we're going to be looking at the Europa League, the preview against Sporting Lisbon. First and foremost, Jerome, you were with us the other day. You saw the game. What was your feeling when Reiss Nelson scored the winner?
I couldn't believe it. Basically, it was more shock. Just before we got that corner, I was watching it just in the flat here, and I went up. Like it was because it's on TV out here. So I went up and I'll go to the toilet. Went to the toilet. Came back. Like when I went to the toilet, it was like, oh, the game's over, finished. Came back, and then like Zinchenko had that sort of cross shot, and he went for the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we've had so many corners this game. Like nothing's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was watching it with Sophia, and I just couldn't believe it. It was just mental. Like in my head, I'd like accepted that we weren't winning that game.
Uh-huh.
Especially in the first minute of injury time when they had a player that went down, like that wasted another minute. I thought, these minutes are just going to fly by, and that'd be it. But yeah, and when we were drawing, I thought, if we're going to win the league, like you can't afford to drop points at home to Bournemouth. Like you can't do it.
And I'm pretty sure that was probably the message at half time. Maybe not in so many words, but you can't lose this game. This will be points that the other teams will get back. Like they will beat Bournemouth. All those games where we've had against, a game where we've had against Man United, or a game against Liverpool. That's basically it'll be wiped off because they will get the points back against this Bournemouth team. Steve, Reiss Nelson's chest, right foot touch, and then volley. It'd be hard to see a goal better than that this month, surely.
It's got to be goal in the month, isn't it? You know, it's got a goal in the month. I mean, I didn't see the celebrations really until sort of after the game on Twitter, where they were showing all the videos, because I was doing my version around the ass when it went in. I just jumped up off the settee. I'd knocked which I was watching it on the iPad. It's knocked it. That went on the floor. I didn't care. Didn't care if it got 500 quid. Yeah, smash it. I get a new one. Just running in the kitchen. Just there's no one in the ass. Don't know where I was going. Screaming. Yeah, it was unbelievable. I just couldn't process it at the time, and it wasn't until afterwards that I could really sort of enjoy it. It's one of them moments where you just don't know what to do with yourself. Like Jerome, I really thought, I was just kept saying to myself, right, okay, 2-2, we got a point, and I was doing all the scenarios in my head. So I'd already sort of, accepted that, it was going to be 2-2, and we was going to go in 3 points in front of Man City, and I was just making all the scenarios. But what a goal! What a finish! I mean, I didn't even know he had that in his locker. I really didn't. I've seen a lot of Reiss, over the years, and we knew he was tricky, we knew he was quick. But I can't even remember him doing anything like that. And it just shows, the mentality of the team at the moment. It was an incredible feeling. We've had many of these this season. We've been very lucky in the sense that, do we want to go through it again? Do we want to keep going behind, scoring goals in the last minute? Not really, not anymore. I think I've had my quota for the season now. Let's just go and win games, make it simple. And it was very similar that I couldn't process the start of the game, because when they scored the goal, I was, when you're just sitting there and you're just thinking, what just happened there? You know, you try to process. It just scored and it's 1-0 to Bournemouth, isn't it? And you're sort of like not even getting angry with yourself because you're thinking, no, that never just happened. And then you're like, boy,
You didn't get a chance to digest it. It was just 9 seconds in. What did you notice on that goal though? Where did the shortcomings come from that goal? Because that's not been Arsenal for the last couple of years, and I don't think I can remember the last time we conceded the goal so quickly. What do you think? What did you see that was?
Well, Zinchenko had came out of position straight away. He tried to close down and he's moved out of his position, which left a space over on the right. So he's out of position. So straight away he's switched off. I think from the kickoff, Arsenal were so used into pressing and attacking from the off. I think that was in Zinchenko's mind, and he's pressed forward and left the gap. So they've gone. So he's basically down his side. Now they've got a free man. It's got over to him. So Zinchenko's got to take a little bit of the blame for it. And I thought Gabriel should have cleared it. It's just he crossed it. It's gone underneath his foot. If Gabriel stops that and he clears it, then there's no goal. So I think we switched off. We got caught. Mainly Zinchenko and Gabriel. But they'll learn from that. Lucky they got away with it, and they owe Reiss Nelson a big pat on the back, or maybe a sly red wine after that game, because I think after the game they might have got called out a little bit more.
Yeah, no, definitely, fully agree. Jerome, what about the people out there who were saying this is too much for Arsenal? They can't keep doing this. It's going to be draining with the emotions that they're going through at the end of each game, where they're scoring these last-minute winners. They saw it against Man United. They've done it against Bournemouth the other day. They've done it a fair few times this season. What would you say to that opinion?
It's not ideal, but I'd rather we be doing that than having these games and not getting the 3 points. We can't really be fussy and choose our way of winning. We just need to try and win. And I think they got to look at it in a positive way, knowing that it's a bit like when Tyson Fury, the boxer, there's a famous boxing trainer that said to beat Tyson Fury, you got to nail him to the canvas. And it's like with Arsenal, like we know that this team is not going to give up. Mm-hmm. Like they'll just keep going and they'll keep going till the end. So look, it's not ideal, but yeah, I'd rather them win this way than not win at all. I don't think it's going to take too much out of them mentally, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I think that's an excuse, and that's when like the management and the coaches have to sort of earn their call in terms of making sure that they're all well and fresh in their head, and they're focused on the next game. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. I think there's an element. Sorry, mate. I think there's an element of like in subconsciously in our heads that can we come back, because they're so young and we haven't seen them do this for quite a while now. It's still subconsciously. If this was like the Invincible team and they was to go 2-0 down or 3-0 down, I remember when we played Middlesbrough once. I was at Highbury and we was 3-0 down, and you were sitting there at half time and you was like, "We're still going to win this," and they come out the second half, we won 5-3. But there's still, because they're young, there's still that element of can they do it? Can they keep doing it? But I think there'll be a time where we will go behind and we'll be much more relaxed and we think, oh, we'll come back in a minute. But at the moment, our nerves are just like so bad because, they're young and we just want them to keep on doing it. And they are, to be fair.
Yeah, they are doing it. I don't have a worry. It was a stat that was going around, I think, last season, potentially end of season before, that Arsenal haven't come back from a losing position, and since then they've done it on multiple occasions. So they've actually kicked that one into touch as well. So again, another hurdle that Arsenal have had put in front of them, and they keep on knocking it down. One thing I did notice was it feels like we went from a squad that had no depth to all of a sudden it feels like we've got a solid bit of depth. Yeah, there are positions that I feel like we still need to add. But when you go through the team, if you're looking at players now, where if you're looking at Reiss's form when he is playing, he's putting in the good stats. I think the last 3 games where he's played, I think you can't count the one before this game the other day because he played 1 minute. But the game before that he came as a sub against. No, the game before that he played in the Carabao Cup against Brighton, got an assist for Eddie Nketiah. Game before that, he came as a sub, got 2 goals and an assist. So it does really feel like there is a switch up in his mentality. As definite. I don't feel like this is accidental. I don't feel like this is just a patch of form because he's fighting for a new contract. We've added Trossard, we've added Jorginho. Vieira's started to come on a little bit more, and he's getting trusted in that central midfield role a bit more for Granit Xhaka. He's still got a long way to go, but he's being trusted in that position. Jakub Kiwior, we don't know what he's about, but he's a Polish international who's playing in the World Cup. So we've added extra layers. We took a right back who we were lauding last season as one of the signings of the season. He's now been replaced by our centre back. So now we've got a right back who is international class, a player who we were lauding as a great signing last season. Is now our backup right back. So the squad depth out of nowhere, it feels like it's just bulked out a little bit. And I feel like we've got that next layer of player in. Yes, I feel like a couple more would be good, but it's just about the third layer, which potentially is the youth team. So yeah, I think we are definitely coming on leaps and bounds. One thing that is going about as well that they showed the other day is a mentality monsters I see online. But Steve, is this a championship mentality that they're showing here?
Oh, without any shadow of a doubt, mate. You can't keep on coming back the way we've been coming back. That is the sign of what champions do. I've watched many championship, running or challenges from Arsenal over the years, and this is a trait that I've seen from those sides, and this is what I'm seeing now. It's when you think we keep hearing about from rival fans and some of our own, to be fair, about can they do it? They're young and and every time it's a different test. So let's see what they can do after 10 games. Let's see what they can do after 5. Let's see what happens when they can go to other clubs. And I think now I mentioned the other day, I think I saw the other day, and then there's someone saying, "Oh, let's wait until we get to the last 5 games of the season." I mean, for God's sake, how many more times are they going to get? When are they not going to give this team credit and look at the players? I mean, look, let's go through. You talk about mentality monsters, kids, right? Let's look at Aaron Ramsdale, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mentality monster, right? You've seen the way he acts, the way he runs up with the crowd, the passion, right? Ben White, right? Absolute crazy man, right? You ain't messing with him on the football pitch. You've seen him in his interviews. He's just like, yeah, well, we're going to win, and you've seen what he was doing with the goal kick. You look at Saliba, you've only got to hear him talk to know that this guy's a right hard git. Do you know what I mean? Gabriel Zinchenko, for God's sake. Granit Xhaka, absolute machine. You're not messing with him. Partey, you're not messing with him. These players, Saka now is getting into that, that angry mode, but he's also showing like the quality. Odegaard, the same. They've got this steely, determination. You can go through the whole team, right? Maybe not. Probably like Martinelli's probably the quietest one out of the lot. But if you go through every one of them players, right, each one, you would say you ain't messing with them on the football pitch.
Yeah.
Right. And what they're doing, they're adding to that the quality, and they're showing people out there what they're all about, and that they can add their angriness, their skill, their passion, their emotions, and they don't let that get carried away with them and let it take away from their football. They're also, with that, letting their football doing their talking, and that's why we're top of the league, and that's why we come back all the time. So Man United, Chelsea, Tottenham, Liverpool fans, Carragher, Jamie Ara, start giving them some credit, right? Because these boys are at the top of the tree. We're the best team in the country. So I don't want to hear it more, mate.
Jerome, Arsenal showing the mentality of a team that can win the champions, the league.
You can't knock the mentality or the spirit. Never say die attitude. I mean, how much hunger is there in that team to win it? Like, not just in the team, but in the supporters as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big thing, I think, as well.
Like, if you were to, obviously, both Arsenal and City, they want to win the league, but you just feel like for some reason Arsenal want it a bit more, because Man City have been there, done it for years. Like they're sort of not used to it, but they know what it feels like. Arsenal, like they want to reach it. They want to. It's something new for them.
Yeah.
And, they say like the sign of a good team is when you win and you play bad. That's not really what's happening here. Like we're playing well. We're just coming up against teams that are just playing so negatively and defending that you got to try and break them down.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different type of mentality. I think it's more about keep going, just keep going till the end. That's the mentality.
I think previously in this season, especially when Arsenal were, and even last season when Arsenal were winning games and not playing great, because there's been a couple, it didn't feel like we were getting credit for that. When you hear it from other teams, that's a sign of a championship winning team, when you win and play badly. However, it does feel like now people are starting to turn a corner on that. They're seeing, like, with all the way we've been playing brilliant football, I think people want to see some bad football and some positive results, because it shows another side. It shows we can show a gritty, steely determination and come back. It shows we can grind out a result. It shows we can win 1-0 against a Leicester team who has picked up a lot of form since the start of the season and score goals, and especially at home. We've managed to not just win, but win comfortably. That game against Leicester was an easy win. It was only a 1-0 win, but it was an easy win. They had one shot and it was off target. And against Leicester, that's completely different. So we're showing different types of winning, which is a massive bonus. One thing that has been thrown our way again is potential that we will face another FA charge for celebrating during the Bournemouth game. And it does actually seem like this one will stick. The reasoning is because of the players that ran on the pitch. Now, I understand rules are rules. However, are we in danger of sterilising moments like this, taking the emotion out of the game, which is a big pull for a lot of people? I mean, people seeing those celebrations of the players the other day will possibly never see things like that before. And those same celebrations, I think what is so sort of you can connect with and resonates with is the fact that the celebrations and the way they celebrated there was the way that 90% of Arsenal fans would have celebrated at home, in the pub, or wherever they were watching the game. And it just shows we're all on the same page. Do you worry that we could lose that, Steve, if they continue to keep on fining Arsenal or charging Arsenal for things like this?
Do you know what? I'm nearly speechless, and that's rare on this. I just don't know what to say. I've watched football all my life, and this is normal. This is great. This is what you want to see. I like seeing other clubs do this. I like to see them celebrating. Because if you take that away, then we got nothing. This is embarrassing. I don't know who's come up with this. I mean, you say there's rules, and I don't know what those rules. You can't celebrate. You can't run on the pitch. There wasn't no fans running on the pitch. Why don't you go and put that little kid who went up to Arteta? Go and get him and put him in ball store or something. That's what they'll be doing next.
The thing is, legitimately,
he should be banned for life.
They could give him and his dad a ban for life.
Banned for
At the age of about 6. At the age of 6.
This is the problem, right? It's not. This is the problem with the country these days, right? These people that have come from, I don't know what era they're coming from or who's running them these days, but it's either people who are like in suits and just decrepit and just their brains are gone, or they're the younger generation who are in their not like us, but in the 30s or in their 40s, who have got this wokey way of looking at things, and they just come out with we see it on the news, we see it in everything, just come out with total bullshit, right? Every single day of your life you see it, and this is just another occasion. Everybody seems to want to ruin everything. I mean, look, these are young men. These are young kids who have just fought as if they was in a war. Not that I'm comparing the two, of anything like that, but they've a war in a football sense, in a football pitch where they've been, they're on the line. It could be a title match where things could, at the end of it, if we never won, they've fought, and it's like one of them movies where you get to the last minute and the seconds count down, and then all of a sudden, like, you get that, and then you whatever the scenario is in the last second, you get it sorted. And it's the same with Arsenal. We've scored a goal in the last kick of the game, and everybody's gone mad because there's so much happiness and euphoria in that stadium, and from these young men, right, who are just so happy, but they just want to take that away from us. And you get Bruno Fernandes, right, who smashing a linesman in the back, right, holding his face on the pitch, making out he's been elbowed, right, and he gets nothing. Just nothing happened to him. But you're getting us who are celebrating and they're trying to ruin one of the greatest games that there's been in the Premier League, comebacks. I don't know what we need to say, but they're going to ruin the game. They will ruin it. Just let them. It's all about enjoyment, football, and what that is. What happened at the end there is why we watch it. It's why we pay. It's why we pay our fees to go to the ground. It's why we pay to watch it. And soon there'll be no stadiums if it was up to them, and everybody watching it in empty stadiums. But yeah,
Jerome, understandable if this was a load of fans that ran the pitch, and Arsenal were getting a fine for their fans. But a few players running on pitch, when Arsenal scored, come back from 2-0 down, Arsenal scored in the 96th minute or 97th minute. Should the FA look at the situation and take that into account as opposed to just a blanket rule like that?
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, basically. There's no... I know there's rules, and it's good that there's rules, obviously. But what there isn't, what people have seemed to have lost, I think a lot of, is just common sense and the context of how things play out is important. If it's during the game and there's someone makes a tackle and all the players start running onto the pitch, that's a different kettle of fish. But when there's been a goal, and even the Premier League Twitter account put out a video I think it was today or yesterday, of like all the different angles of Arsenal celebrating that goal. The actual Premier League Twitter account, like praising that moment, saying how
crazy.
good it was.
That's crazy. I didn't see that.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell there's common sense has gone from the game when, again, to do with goal scoring, players get booked, that you get a yellow card for taking your shirt off. Someone could do a very dangerous tackle, and not receive any booking at all. Yet a player scores a goal, takes their top off, and they get a yellow card for it. For me, that is, if I was like a lawmaker or in charge of making rules for football, that's probably the first thing I would change is that rule, because it's the most popular sport in the world and the best part of the most popular sport in the world, and you want to try and ruin it, and you want to try and sanction people and get them in trouble. That when they get a yellow card, that could put them out of like a couple of league games. They could miss a really important game because they've taken their shirt off. There's no common sense has gone basically. And when you hear the referee speak on Sky Sports, Dermot Gallagher, he speaks about rules, but there's zero common sense there. Absolutely zero. And until they get some common sense, you'll get these situations, and it's very funny. I've never seen, I don't know, maybe there is, I haven't done like enough research, but how often have teams got fined for celebrating in the past, and for what? Like, I'd love to know that, because I can't imagine there'd be too many situations where this is like, there's no precedent for it.
They better not.
Like, I think the referee might have reported it as well, which makes it even worse. Like, why even? Yeah, why?
No, it was him. He was the one where it all started from.
So this is what I don't understand. Like this is hypocrisy. Yeah. So it's okay to use Arsenal's celebrations as a reason why you should love the Premier League. This is what the Premier League's all about. Jorginho running on the pitch, everyone celebrating happily. Yeah. That is part of it. So you're telling me you're going to use that as an advert, and then you're going to fine us for it? The club should sue them. They should say, you can't use that. You can't use the footage of us running on the pitch and celebrating if you're going to fine us. That is disgusting.
You know what it is as well? Say this happened to another team, right? And a team scored a last-second winner. They're going for the league and they celebrate. Do you think that any other teams would
begrudge them?
Care?
No,
Would you be offended or care if another team celebrated a last-minute winner? You'd be like, they're well within their rights. Yeah. They've scored a goal. They're not jumping up, running into the crowd. Not doing anything dangerous. No, like mate, it all comes down to common sense. That's what it comes down to.
And Gary O'Neill's asked after the game, what do you think of Arsenal's celebrations? He said they just won in the 97th minute. They can celebrate how they want. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And that is how it should be. And yes, there were a few people on the Bournemouth bench, but I'm pretty sure Gary O'Neill would have said, look, boys, if we would have scored a 96th minute goal against Arsenal, what do you think we would have been like? Sitting in our seats and clapping? Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what made me
no
laugh?
way.
Chris Kavanagh was the one, he's come out and he said that it's up to referees to report things like this, players coming up, over celebrating and all this, right? What is he, the only one that see it? Is he the only one that said? What does he mean? He's the what a load of old cobblers. Did no one else watch that? Why has he got to be the one? So if he never reported it, then no one would say nothing. How does that make sense? He's just one of he's like one of these people I just spoke about. One of these probably like these wokey people who's oh God, your poor wife or something. You have to live with you or something all your life. My life. God, must be terrible.
Yeah, there's no reason. There's no reason. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's all the more crazy the fact that Jerome just pointed out that the Premier League Twitter account, the league that's going to be fining Arsenal for for encroaching, players encroaching on the pitch, has used footage of our players encroaching the pitch as a glowing endorsement of what the Premier League is all about. Absolute donkeys. Wow, it's embarrassing. It's shocking. I cannot believe that. I'm
Do you
stunned.
know what they should do? You know what they should do? Next time Arsenal score a goal, don't celebrate. Just walk back to the pitch. All get in a line. Just walk to the pitch.
But on a serious note, yeah, if teams started doing that, the Premier League would probably have a word. The Premier League would probably have a word, because it's taken away the element of the game. Now it'd be very hard for a player to score a goal and not celebrate. But if teams stop celebrating goals, the Premier League would not be happy. They want that. They want that joy, that burst of emotion. If you're keeping it in and shaking hands, we need to take the mick. Just take the mick out of the old celebrations. Oh, great goal there, my friend. We used to take the mick out of that because it was regimented back in the day. Because a gentleman just shakes hands. That's what they do. Great goal. Well, that's sterile.
But they've already done it with VAR, haven't they, kids? Really, they've taken it away with VAR because every single goal gets checked. So every single goal we don't know, do we?
But the thing is, with the VAR, I just feel like that's something we're going to get used to. The VAR thing, the important thing for me is getting the correct decision. As long as you get the correct decision, I'll deal with the waiting. We celebrate anyway. Like, it's not because I know previously the thought was, we can't celebrate until it's been confirmed. We celebrate. We wait. And then we celebrate again. Yeah. So it's a new thing. It's a new thing. We'll get used to that. But the sterilizing of the game where you're stopping players from doing. How often does that happen? How often does the players run on the pitch when a goal is scored? They don't, because it's not often that a 96-minute goal is scored when you've come from 2-0 down. Don't happen.
Yeah.
So I just think they could have taken this in an isolated incident, given us a warning, say don't let the players run on the pitch that are not. Do you know what I mean? Maybe dished out a couple of yellow cards. I don't know, but this is all silly.
Does it matter?
All silly. It don't matter. It's too much. It's too much. One thing I did want to bring up because there's one thing that I've noticed this season, and it's Man United fans. They seem to like to pretend that they're either in something or not, and they also like to pretend that they are like not bantering you, but they are, like, or they're involved in something they're not. So, for instance, I know for a fact that after 10 games, Man United fans were like, "Yeah, but it's Arsenal." After 20 games, Man United fans are like, "Yeah, it's Arsenal." And they lost to us. They can't even beat us. And we're not having a great season. We're only this 20 points behind. Well, I was happy to find this out when I saw yesterday. Manchester United players spoke of beating Arsenal to the title in the WhatsApp group chat before the Liverpool loss. Absolutely brilliant. And
is that real?
This is what Man United fans and Man United players are really like. They like to pretend that they're talking in a good light about, no, champion. Like, they like to pretend they weren't in a race, but they say they were. And they like to pretend that they were keeping it humble, and it's clear as day they weren't. I love that. They were trying to say that they're going to beat Arsenal. They were going to pip Arsenal to the post. And they got spanked 7-0 because their heads were in a different place. Love it. Absolutely love it. All right. Next up, Reiss Nelson, the man of the moment. Look at these stats. Goals, assists per minute. Nelson sits top above Haaland, above Ferguson, above Firmino, above Martial. Steve, do you give Reiss Nelson a new contract, and how long do you give if you do?
Well, Reiss Nelson, what is his contract runs out this summer. He's 23 years old, and you know, even before the game the weekend, we'd started seeing Reiss Nelson played well. He was scored a couple of goals. He was getting assists, so you could see him coming back to some sort of form, and and sort of topped it, the weekend. But yeah, I mean, for me, a few months ago, maybe a year ago, he was keep getting injuries, and I wasn't sure whether he was the right person to to sort of maybe give Saka some competition. But I've changed my mind completely now. 23 years old. I'd give him a contract, and I'd just give him a contract just as long as just like the others. I'd give him a 5-year contract, because I think now finally, I mean, we haven't really seen Reiss Nelson under Arteta. We've seen what he's done with Granit Xhaka. We've seen what he's done with Ben White. We've seen what he's done with most of the Arsenal squad, how he's improved them. And I think now it's time for Reiss Nelson to be that player. I think he's probably given Arteta a bit of an headache, a good headache, and I think he's probably very, very pleased, because there is a possibility that he could have saved us a lot of money in the summer, because he could be. I wasn't looking at him as a winger. I thought we was going to need something else, but I'm not. Let's see how he goes. But there's a very big possibility that he could be saving Arsenal 50-60 million quid, because I'm liking what I'm seeing, and I'd easily give him a 5-year contract. I know that soon as look sort of in the week, obviously it was this week, talks of are ready to start. They haven't actually started, but they're ready to go ahead, and that will probably happen in the next week or so. From what I've been told, it will be in the next week or so. So yeah, Reiss Nelson is obviously the pay and all these things are not a problem. Just Reiss Nelson doesn't want to go anywhere. He's had a few. Crystal Palace and West Ham have been interested in him, but he's just literally, I'm an Arsenal boy. I want to stay at Arsenal, and I want to play underneath with these lads, and I want to play under Mick Arteta. So that side of it's all done, dusted. And as long as Mikel Arteta doesn't want him to leave, which from being told that he doesn't, then he could be a very good asset to Arsenal in the future. And this season, we could be looking back at the end of this season, and Reiss Nelson, he could be an Arsenal legend by the end of this season. Whether it's been playing from the start, or whether it's playing in Europe, or coming on at half time, if he continues this type of form, I mean, it could be a special time for him. But 5-year contract for me. I would keep him, and he deserves a big pat on the back, because he's changed my mind, because I didn't think that he had all this in his locker, but he's proved me wrong. So well done,
Jerome. Reiss Nelson. What would you do with Reiss Nelson? Would you give him a new deal? How would you play it?
Yeah, so it's so interesting, because how are people feeling in the 95th minute? If you would ask them this question, then does that goal change anything? It definitely shouldn't. It's really hard with Reiss Nelson, because I know you put those stats up about goals and assists per 90, but literally that's all he's played this season, is about 90 minutes in the league. Like he's hardly played. He's hardly played this season. The last couple of years, really, the last few years, we haven't seen a lot of him, whether it be for Arsenal or for another club. Like anyone that was to sign him, they're taking a punt, basically, because they haven't got a lot of previous games to look at. I think you have to offer him a new contract. I don't think you can afford to lose a winger for nothing, considering he's come through the system. I think by the sounds of things, his first choice is to stay at Arsenal. So he doesn't seem like one of these people that is hungry to go elsewhere and get a big deal somewhere. I think he really wants to play with be at Arsenal. Length of deal, I don't know, maybe 3 years, perhaps something like that.
Do you still have reservations over Reiss Nelson?
Yeah, definitely. Just because we haven't seen a lot of him, I think you have to. I don't know what you can base. You haven't got anything to base it on, really. You've got very limited number of minutes to base a decision on. I mean, how many minutes of first team football has he played at Arsenal over the last 5 years? Not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the way we play and how important wingers are in our system, if you can basically have someone like Reiss Nelson, who's not going to cost you too much in wages. Obviously, he's already at the club. Like, I think it's a no-brainer to offer him a contract. It's such those wing positions are so important and key that I think if you're going to have like an area of your team, an area of your squad where you've maybe got too many of, I think wingers is the one to have, because basically, as we've seen time and time again, they're the match winners of your squad, of your team. So yeah, I would definitely give him a fresh contract. And look, if it doesn't work out, then you could obviously, you'd be able to get your money back in terms of the wages that you've paid for him, because someone would buy him. So yeah. I think it's a no-brainer to offer him a contract, just as long as it's one that obviously he's happy with and the club are happy with. But look, he's obviously, he's not a first choice winger, but we know that even if you're not a first choice winger, you're gonna still play plenty of games.
Yeah. So
I think Sorry, mate.
Simon says, I wouldn't go as far as to say 5 years. I would probably give him 2 years with an option of another year. He was fantastic. He scored the winner, but he's very injury prone. For me myself, I've seen 3 Reiss Nelsons. I saw the Reiss Nelson that came on the scene under Arsene Wenger, frighteningly quick, pacey. He was Jadon Sancho. He was Arsenal's Jadon Sancho. No one knew about Jadon Sancho. We were talking about Reiss Nelson. This exciting new kid looks ridiculously sick. Played at wing back, similar to what the way that Saka was brought through. Played at wing back a bit, then learns his trade there, then comes up as a winger long term. Then I saw a Reiss Nelson that came back from Germany, played under Emery, and was starting to play under Mikel Arteta. I call him the low socks wannabe Jack Grealish Reiss Nelson. The Reiss Nelson which I did not like. The Reiss Nelson which I saw and I was like, who is this guy? Socks down by his ankles like Steve Claridge. Like, I'm like, what are you doing? What is this stuttered run? This sort of what are you doing? I didn't like it. That Reiss Nelson was out the door for me. This is a different Reiss Nelson. Direct, powerful, pacey. That is Reiss Nelson. The Reiss Nelson I originally saw under Arsene Wenger. That Reiss Nelson. And now I've seen Reiss Nelson. I saw him play against Brighton. Although Arsenal lost, he was Arsenal's best player. I saw Reiss Nelson play in Europe. I feel that people were overly critical of his performance, especially when there were games where Arsenal didn't play great at all. They were tough games away from home, and we slugged out a win. Reiss Nelson getting key assists in those, if not the last pass, but like a key pass with a sick through ball to Ben White. I remember that one as well. And obviously the game where he came on and scored 2 goals and got an assist. For me, I've seen enough of Reiss Nelson off the back of what I saw previously to know that this kid's a talent, this kid's an exciting prospect, then to see where he is now and hearing what is coming out of his mouth. Don't know if you've seen the Sky Sports interview where he's back at his old school ground in the park. He's talking very candidly, very honestly about how he rested on the fact that he had the talent before, how he's matured as a player, how he wants to stay at the club, how he this is everything that he wants to be at Arsenal, working under Mikel Arteta. All those things together, for me, say that this kid's mentally in a right place, and it's just a case of physically making sure that he follows that path as well. What was you going to say before, Steve?
Yeah, I think with what I think people got to understand as well, especially in this day of football, it doesn't benefit any club or Arsenal for one to put players on short-term contracts. Doesn't benefit us. We've got financial fair play looking over us. We're being investigated at the moment. So putting players on 2-year contracts, 3-year contracts is no good. It's no good. If you're going to give someone a 2-3-year contracts, right? The agent at Reiss Nelson or the player, then he's going to start asking for more wages. If you're going to start asking for more wages, then you start getting a problem.
Yeah, because he's on higher wage, you can't get him off the books.
Yeah, then your books don't add it up. Hence why Chelsea are putting players on 8-year contracts. Right? There's a reason for that. Why they're doing that. They ain't doing it because they think that they can't, just to buy them. They're doing it
because they paid £120 million for a centre midfielder who's only had 6 months in Europe.
Yeah, but when you're getting investigated and looked at by financial fair play like Arsenal are, right, to give them a 5-year contract with lesser wages is the perfect scenario, because then the books will just balance and then they'll add up. If you're putting them on a two-year contract or 3-year contract, the agent of Reiss Nelson or the player is going to go, okay, I want to stay. But if I'm on 3 years, I want £100,000 a week then.
Best security.
Otherwise, I'm off.
Yeah.
But if you're on a 5, there's Reiss Nelson and the agent will turn around and he'll say, okay, yeah, I'll take £60,000 a week, £50,000 a week, because I've got my future sorted.
Yeah.
And if things happen and go on along the way, then you can deal with it. And if he starts to play well, then no one can lose.
Yeah, you are in a win-win situation with regards to he's picked up form, which has sparked interest from a few clubs.
Yeah,
which is enough for, if it doesn't quite work out when we're giving this deal, those clubs will still be about. Like they will see, they've seen enough in Reiss Nelson now to go, you know what, we'll take a punt on this kid. 15, 20 mil. Especially Arsenal sign a new contract. I don't think that it's not big money. Did forget to play something previously, but it involves Reiss Nelson anyway. So enjoy.
The scenes after Ben White's equalizer.
I don't know if you saw the Zinchenko at the end there, slapping on Reiss Nelson's chest, saying to keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. Love that, love that. Basically, I was meant to play that at the end during the bit when we was talking about mentality, because it shows a strong mentality of the club. Odegaard, Ben White, Zinchenko, Gabriel, all pumping up the crowd. 2-2, telling Zinchenko go out to Reiss Nelson, come on, give us more, keep going, because he just set up that goal. Like, this is the camaraderie in the team at the moment is outstanding. Absolutely loving it. And long may it continue. We're going to quickly go on to the preview of the Sporting Lisbon game. A couple of big questions there. Quickly, let's read out a couple of these comments. I still think we need another forward and a midfielder and a centre back to deal with potentially Champions League football. I don't want us to be loyal and not be in the competition. Now, what I will say about that is Arsenal currently have Gabriel, Saliba, Jakob Kiwior, Holding. Now, you could probably take away... It depends. Are Arsenal going to bring in another right back? So you've got like an option that you can put in Ben White as centre back, and you've got the right back, or are they going to get another centre back and then keep Ben White as the right back? I don't know. It's going to be a hard balancing act to keep on bringing in like another centre back who's of a standard, and he's going to be sitting on the bench, and he's probably not going to get many games because you've got Saliba, Gabriel, Jakob Kiwior, Ben White, Rob Holding. Another centre back. I don't know where that fits. What level is this centre back? How good is this centre back if he's now potentially 5th or 6th choice? This is the balancing act that you've got to have. And I think for me, it's a case of selling the future to players like Partey, Xhaka, longer term. Yep, you're here now. Couple of years' time, start bringing in other players, but we want them to stay. They've still got the level to be squad players. It's just moving them down. Like they've bought into it. They want to carry it on. Again, it's very, very hard to bring in a player that's gonna keep you competing. Is gonna bring competition to the squad, and he's not going to kick up a fuss. Not an easy balance. Next, have we got youngsters in the youth team that are of that level? Charlie Patino, Florent Balogun is there and thereabouts. Sosa's been knocking on the door as that third option at left back. Probably short in centre back with the youth team. Daniel Ballard's been sold. He's got a buy option, but probably not going to go there. So there's a lot to think about Arsenal going forward. Saka, Gabriel, William Saliba have all earned their new contracts. Reiss Nelson hasn't really done anything yet to warrant a 5-year deal and a very good salary, in my opinion. But I get what Steve's saying, he says. All right. Steve. Game Thursday, Sporting Lisbon. Probably done about as many mental gymnastics as possible, thinking about what kind of first team you're going to be putting out here. Yes. As I said earlier, strength and depth has probably gone up with the likes of Jorginho, with Jakob Kiwior, with Trossard, whether he's going to be back in time. What's your starting lineup against Sporting Lisbon?
Yeah, you're right. First off, mate, it must have changed about 3 or 4 times my lineup for this game in the past week. Some forcibly, some because we can't do nothing about. But my team, I'd have Matt Turner in goal. At right back, I'd have Tomiyasu. My centre back pairing for this game would be William Saliba.
Yes.
And Kiwior. I want to see him next to Saliba. I know it's a bit harsh on Holding, but we're into the knockout stages now, so I think we might need that little bit of strength. I want to see Kiwior, and I think he's good. I've heard good things about him. He's played a couple of games for the under-21, so I think with Saliba on the right, him on the left, be good. On the left back, I'd seriously worry if Kieran Tierney's not in the side Thursday. Because I want to see him play. I want to see him have a good game. I want to see him, put pressure on Zinchenko for that spot. So Kieran Tierney. Midfield, my midfield would be Jorginho, Granit Xhaka, and this is probably it might shock a few people, but it's something that me and you was talking about the other day, Gears. I'd play Emil Smith-Rowe in the number 10. Then on the left, I'd have Martinelli because I feel he needs game time. I think he had a bit of a poor game against, I thought, the weekend. So let's get him up and running in. Let's get him a goal or two on the score sheet. On the right, I'd have Reiss Nelson. Give Saka a rest. And I don't know if he's fit. Hopefully he's fit because I'm running out of players. I'd have Eddie Nketiah. I think that's a good side.
Yeah, you think that's enough to beat Sporting Lisbon?
I do. Yeah, and I'd be excited to see Kiwior and Emil Smith-Rowe in them positions to see what they can give us. because I thought Edmund Smith-Rowe did well, and like a few other people didn't think he did, but I thought he had a decent game the weekend.
Yeah,
so
I
see
saw
him again.
some of them. I agree with you. I saw some of them player ratings. Some of them were way off.
Mad, wasn't
Way
it?
off. I saw. I think it was Goal.com. I saw them give Emil Smith-Rowe a 4. I was like, a 4.
No.
He got an assist.
You kind of watched the
How'd he
game.
get 4? Like you can't have given him a 4. And Odegaard, they gave a 5, and I'm like, yeah, Odegaard had one for me. Odegaard had one of them games where he just keeps the ball ticking over.
Yeah.
We can't expect Odegaard every game to pull out 9s and 10s, score a goal, and get 2 assists. Like, there's going to be games where he just ticks over. I think what I watch Odegaard so closely, and what I think people are dismissing out of his game is so a normal player would run with the ball, and then pass it off. Odegaard doesn't. Odegaard takes 3 players with him. Yeah, he may end up in the same spot where he could have passed it, but those players have shifted. He creates space, which other players don't. So when you're talking about, he just had an average game, it's not an average game because we still won the game. And he didn't get the assist, but he was integral into wearing down their players, having them thinking, second guessing. Like I think he's so underrated over Odegaard, and it's because it's those games where he doesn't score a goal and doesn't get an assist. I think people are just like, we need more. We need more. And I'm just like, please just watch his game. Because I see players who have games where they just pass it left, right, and centre. Like Joe Allen used to have those games where he just used to, the ball's ticking over. But Michael Carrick used to have them games where he sits there, gets the ball and just passes it around. And they get lauded for spraying balls for 90 minutes. Whereas Odegaard will carry the ball, draw in a player, spin, pass it off there. And because he hasn't made an assist, it's like, we want more from him. It's like, please just appreciate some of his games when it's a little bit more of a quiet game because,
definitely.
he does so much for the team.
Definitely.
Sorry, carry on.
No, that was it, mate.
Yeah, Jerome. Jerome, sorry, my brand. Jerome, what's your starting lineup against Sporting Lisbon?
Yeah, so same goalie in defence as Steve. The midfield's interesting. I think I wouldn't play Partey, so I'd put Jorginho and Xhaka there, and then next to them, I'd either play Vieira or Odegaard. It doesn't seem as though Nketiah will be fit, so I'd probably play Martinelli down the middle, and then probably Smith-Rowe and Reiss Nelson on the wings.
Smith-Rowe, Reiss Nelson on the wings, and who up front?
Martinelli. I just don't think there'll be anyone else. I don't think Nketiah is even fit.
Is that what they're saying?
Well, when Arteta had his press conference the other day, he didn't know if it was going to be short term, long term. He really didn't give anything away. But nothing's really come out, is it, about Nketiah? No. So I don't think.
Who would you play in the 10, Joe?
Yeah, I'd play either Odegaard. I'd play Vieira.
Yeah.
One of those two.
I think if that's the case, and Nketiah isn't fit, then I would put Vieira in because he's going back to his own country. He's played against Sporting before. Give Odegaard the rest, put him on the bench.
I think Vieira will play. He has sometimes played Vieira like wide right, although that's not really where he plays. But I agree, Steve. I think because it's going to be in Portugal, I definitely think he'll start the game.
Yeah, I'm just trying to say.
Actually. Yeah, I still want to see Smith-Rowe play. So if he needs to play, if he plays on the left,
I think Smith-Rowe will play. Yeah.
Okay, I can't deal with the footballers trying to be motivational and they're like he's put out a story on his Instagram that says minor setback, major comeback. Like I just want an answer. I just want you to tell me how long you're out for already. Like I don't need cryptic clues. Like come on. Just tell me you're back,
Minor
ready for the
setback,
Sporting Lisbon
major
game.
comeback.
Not minor setback, major comeback.
Maybe Jesus will make an appearance.
Inject it. Like I can't deal with it. It's always got to be a really cool caption. Just tell me you're going to be back in 2 weeks, bruv. Come on.
Yeah, they ruin your day, didn't you? Because they give you these little cryptics, and then you get up in the morning.
And then we're doing gymnastics, and we're wrong.
All day long.
We're always wrong. We're always wrong. How many times? Oh my god! Did you see that picture? Did you see the picture that so and so released that we're clearly signing him? We're clearly signing him. He just released a statement that said signing him. He just put a red dot on his Twitter, and that was it. Just one red dot. Arsenal are signing him. He comes to the carpet. That's all we hear. That's all we hear.
Oh yeah,
All
just
right,
say something. Did you see just before? Did you see the video today, guys, of the of Jorginho and Jesus, with Jesus in the learner car?
Oh yeah.
No, I've seen so many videos going around.
You gotta watch
I would love to be a part of Arsenal. I felt so jealous. There's a geezer in the tunnel, I don't know if you've seen the video of them coming back through the tunnel, but there's a geezer in the tunnel. He's just standing with his phone. He's like, hey, and they're like, yeah, and he's like, come on, boys. And he's not a player. He's the cameraman. And they're like, yeah, come on. And I'm like, I wish that was me.
I see 3 videos today. I see 3 videos this afternoon, just around dinner time before I come on. And I just thought, I love this fucking club.
Yeah.
But
I say it all the time to my mates, I love this club.
I see the Jorginho and Jesus one. You got to watch that, kids, right? There's a learner car that comes out of the car park, Jerome will tell you, and Jorginho's coming the other way in his car, and he winds down his window, Jorginho, and he's got his phone, and then you see just the window go down, and Jesus is sitting in the driver's seat of the learner's car, going the other way, and Jorginho's gone to him. He said, Gabby. He said, what are you doing? He was going, and Jorginho's laughing his head off. He can't drive. And he's going, what are you doing? He said, I'm having a lesson. He said, I'm having a driving lesson. And then I see, I don't know if it was Amazon, because I still ain't seen the Amazon. I've seen in the dressing room at the Chelsea game. Was that on Amazon?
Yeah.
When I chatted to a man, he said, look, I don't want you to see no moaning and fucking players moaning on a football pitch.
Yeah.
So just get out there, and then there was the Ben White one, where they was all coming through the tunnel, and all their faces were celebrating.
Yeah,
and
Ben
White comes through, just stern face and looking like that.
He loves it. We all love Ben White. He has the best interviews. All right. Brilliant. That is all we have time for. Make sure you catch us on Thursday, straight after the Sporting Lisbon game, for the post-match reaction and player ratings. Make sure you catch us on Monday at 8 o'clock for the Super 6 podcast, and every Tuesday at 8 o'clock on KS1 TV for the Arsenal show. Thank you for joining us tonight, Steve.
Pleasure, mate. Cheers.
And thank you for joining us tonight, Jerome.
Yeah, of course. Thanks.
If you are a regular, press that like and subscribe button and press that share button. You only have to press the copy button, and it works the same. And if you are new to the show, press that subscribe button. Peace out, people. Stay safe and wash your hands.